Welcome back. We're on section number 4. We're on part 4 of carving this fantasy book. So up to this point, we've done everything, including setting up the straps and carving in the pages and all that. I'm going to do a couple things in this section. I want to do some of the details, and I also want to see if I can relieve the straps and relieve the covers. So the cover is what I'm talking about, is what's in between the edges. And so here I have, pointed the wrong camera, here I have one part of the book, and I want to separate right where the outside cover is and the pages are. And so let me get my safety gear on. I'm not going to carve without safety gear. I don't want to run into any trouble. All right, I'm going to take a small thick knife. By small, I mean 1.5 inches, and I want to take that thick knife and I want to go thick, stiff knife because I don't want it wobbling back and forth. I want it wobbling back and forth. What I want to do is go right in between that cover and the pages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve. Well, I'm going to go straight down, but I'm going to lean it a little bit to the outside so that I'm poking to the inside. Because if I carved out that way, I'm going to break it off. I just want to lean it a little bit, and I want to make an indentation right along the edge of that cover, as close to the cover as I can get without breaking it off. Follow that around, and then I'm going to come back on this side, on the other side where I carved it, and I want to take out as little of a sliver as I can get. It's hard to see because it's a hard angle for me to get to. But I'm just going to take a little bit of a sliver off so I can show a separation between the cover and the pages. Come on, there, get little fuzzies in there. Doesn't show much, but it gives a little bit of depth to it. Just a little bit, not much. Just enough so that it shows a separation. I don't have big hands, so holding this with one hand, small hand, and this is the one that's missing a finger or two, makes it a little bit difficult. But you know what? Life is not about being perfect. Life is about making do with what you got. And I had an accident a long time ago where I lost a couple fingers. That's just the way life is. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. I'm not going to whine and moan about it. I'm going to make do with what I got and make it work. And so I can't hold it in these great big hands. I can't carve like a lot of you do where you use your thumb to push. I just don't have that extra thumb to push with. So I use what I got. And so far, I've been okay. It isn't perfect. But as I've said many times before, and I will say many times afterwards, I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming for the best that I can do, knowing that it'll never, ever be perfect. This is one of the details I want to get done before I go and start adding the other things I want to add. The other things we want to get to when we do this, we're going to relieve this. We're going to go around and double check the straps, make sure that they're relieved properly. We're going to do these pages relieve here, and then we're going to start working on the centerpiece and the corner face on the corner. The centerpiece is going to be whatever we come up with, and I found a couple of them online on Pinterest that I thought would work perfect for us. And then the face is just going to be a face on a corner. I don't know how many faces on a corner you've done. I've done quite a bit. I like doing them on a corner because it works better than when I'm not working on the corner. So this is the last little bit I got on this cover. Got to watch over here in this corner because one piece wanted to come off already. So we'll just trim a little bit, try to stay away from it. I don't want to slam into that cover because then it's going to break off. And we've used glue twice on this project. I don't want to use anymore because when I carve across that glue line, I end up with some issues with making marks on my knife. I backed the camera off up just a little bit because when I reviewed the video, I realized there was times when I was just too close for you to see anything. And so I backed it off just about 3 or 4 more inches. I hope that works. We'll find out when we go to upload this one and put it in. See what I mean about going past the edge right there? Okay, watch how we fix that. That's a cover. So I'm going to start back here, and I'm just going to trim that down to that space. Start back here, trim that down a little bit, because like I said in the last video, this is a beat up old book. It's going to be nicked and knocked around, so we can do that by just coming back away from it and separating it. So it's going to be beat up. We might want to put a few more nick marks in there just to make it look like it's been handled quite a bit, because in reality it would have been, whether it was a book of spells or the old Bible or whatever. This might have been a leather Bible for all we know, or a leather Quran, or whatever kind of religious book it might have been. Anyway, we got those cut in, we got these cut in, we got these cut in, and we got these cut in. We're good. I want to go back here, and I'm just going to where's that tool at? I'm just going to lay my knife in there and make another cut. I've cleaned it up. I'll show you in just a minute what I did to clean it up. This is just going under there and reinforcing that line there. So I'm laying my knife almost flat and dragging it down into the place where the strap is. And I'm just making it stand out. I don't have to go deep, and I don't have to take off a lot of wood. I just have to put a shadow in there so that it looks like up under here. See if we can see it. Up under here, we've got a shadow under there. I hope you can see that. Not sure where to go to get it to focus. Anyway, we're just trying to get a shadow. And so lay that knife almost completely flat and drag it through that cut that you've made a couple times on both sides and on both straps. All I'm doing is using my knife to notch it and indent that strap around, or the leather around the strap. If we were painting it and we put a lot of water on it, it'll close that gap up, but I know it'll still be there when I'm done. When I talk about cleanup, I use a simple device. This is called a mandrel. Has a screw at the top. Hold still. Has a screw at the top. And it's got a long shaft. I think this is 1/8 of an inch, might be 1/4. And I put 3 of these mount on there, and I put that screw through there, and I tighten them up. And it's real square. When you start using them, they eventually work themselves down. These things are great for cleaning up fuzzies, cleaning off some of the writing. Like I write in marker and I write in pencil. It'll clean that off, and it'll just basically clean up your tool, clean up your carving that you're doing. Okay, so we've got the relief straps done. We've got the relief corners done, relief covers. We're going to work on the centerpiece. And so I looked up last night on Pinterest, and I found something that looks kind of like what we're aiming for. So this one right here is an old book with straps on it. There's another look at it, and here's another look at it. So that's kind of what we're aiming for, although ours isn't going to be quite so detailed or quite so beat up. You can see some details right in here. Can't tell if that's a smudge. It looks more like a leather carving where they've done some leather work on it. I started to turn it sideways so you could get an angle in it, but it's just a piece of paper, so you're not going to get much of an angle. But I like this kind of symbol here without getting into the occult. So what I want to do is I want to take that and I want to find my handy circle template. And I don't want this to be really big, because I remember we're going to put a face on this back side right here, like a face on a corner, like we've done on a lot of carvings. And so I think that might be a little too big. This one's a little bit smaller. That one might be about right. So I want to put it somewhere right around the middle. Doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, but if I eyeball it, looks like that's about right. Let's do it with a pencil, see where we like that. Yep, I think that'll work. Which one were we at? This one here. Okay, we're going to work with that one. Make that one work. I'm gonna do it with marker. And if I just kind of eyeball a circle around it, we'll get a smaller circle in the middle. I want to eyeball a circle around it by doing another smaller circle inside. I can do it this way because I can always make it smaller. So this medallion or emblem or whatever it's going to call, that's that piece. I'm going to do a real small one in the middle. And again, I'm just eyeballing what looks better, what's not going to look quite so good. Close enough. I'll go around that circle a little bit bigger. Where am I at? Let's do this one. Again, this is all just spitballing, trying to see what works. And then I want to see if I can recreate these little swirls here. I don't need much, but I'm just going to I'm just already messed up. All right, Yvonne, where's my eraser? I didn't get it out this morning yet, did I? Okay. Okay, I'm going to start by making some marks because that's going to keep me straight. I'm going to put 8 marks in here. Okay, that means from those 8 marks, I'm going to draw lines out. And again, I'm just guessing what it's going to do. I want to try to make sure that the segments are about the same size. So it almost looks like a steering wheel, a ship wheel. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this edge, this corner, to the middle of this one. So I want to do this one and then that one. Then I want to do this one and that one. I want to do, I think I've already got off. Yep. That one and that one. That one and that one. 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 I think I got off. But I think by the time we get done, nobody's going to know the difference. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 9 of them in there. You know what? I'll leave it at that. That's as close as I want to get it. Pardon me. Okay, we're going to put that off to the side. We're just going to use a small V tool. I have a small one here, and I'm just going to follow around. So that's what I'm going to be cutting out. You can see I got a little bit of a wonky one right there, but we'll make it work. Okay, I'm starting out. Oh, put my glove on because it would be the one day I slip and have a major issue, and it might be a week or two before I can get back to this. We don't need that. Okay, being very careful and very steady. It helps if your thumb is anchored. My thumb is anchored right there. This is anchored, and the tool is anchored. So it helps if you have as many anchors as you can to keep this thing from going all the way off and you having a big scratch mark across the way. So just be careful. Take your time. Like I tell my students, speed kills sometimes on these intricate carvings. You want to make sure that you're taking your time. See, there we go. Off a little bit. That ain't much. I can clean that up. It's when you go to going straight is okay. It's when you start to twirl or turn. I realize I'm covering it up, but I don't know any other way of showing you that. I don't have multiple cameras and multiple angles. I got a computer and a webcam, and they work okay. but they don't do perfect. I need a camera in my eye that hooks to the computer wherever my eye is looking. That's where the camera focuses. Right. That sounds a little like AI, and I'm not fond of AI, just so you know. Get a little smaller V-tool. Got a little smaller one. We're going to go around that inner circle. This one has been honed recently, so it's cutting a whole lot better than that other one. That other one needs some work. I should have done that. Between this video and the last one, I should have cleaned that up, but honed it. But anyway, we're going to make it work. Again, I'm just tracing a circle. Okay, got to do the outer of the inner circle, the outer piece of the inner circle. Should have planned to do one that had more straight lines instead of this circle stuff. It's tedious and very. You got to be very precise if you want it to look halfway decently right. Alright, now we're going to have a hard time with that inner circle. It might be better if I did it with a tool and just went straight down into it, but I think it would be more trouble than it's worth, so I'm just going to continue on with this one because this is a real small circle. I'm going to make it work. That's what I wanted to do. And now I'm going to do each one of these lines. And be real careful on how I do it. I want to, up here where I made a mistake, I'm going to make some adjustments and hopefully that'll work out. Going against the grain, and I really don't want to. I want to go with the grain. It'll make it an easier cut. This is going to be a small piece, so you're not going to see a lot of it in terms of what it is, but you'll see enough of it to know that it's just a symbol. Symbol that means really nothing, except one I just found online and called it good. Those of you that want to get real detailed, you can. I didn't leave myself a whole lot of room. I can write the book of spells down here, but I don't know whether I want to add that. I just want to leave this to the imagination. It is whatever you think it is, rather than being exactly what I say it is, just to give you an opportunity to put it into whatever genre or thought process or whatever you wanted to do. Now, I'm leaving behind a lot of these black marks simply because I can go back with my whizzer wheel, what I call them, and I can clean that up. Those marks will come off of there. The problem is if I do it too hard, this is such a small detail. If I do it too hard, press down too hard, I'm going to lose a lot of that detail. But anyway, you got an idea of where I was headed and what I'm going to do with that. All right. Now, one of the hardest parts is doing a face. Easy to do a face on a corner because what we can do is go ahead and say, there's the eyebrow. Right down here, this isn't going to be a big face. Right down here is the bottom of the nose. And right here is my center line. I'm just going to have hair everywhere else. So I'm going to start with something like that. That's going to be the eyebrow and the nose, and then we'll mark mustaches and whatever. And so I want to round this a little bit more. I don't need a lot more rounding. Where'd my thumb guard go? There it is. I don't need a lot of rounding, and so I know where it's going to go. I can come in here with my knife and I can create a flatter plane because right now it's real rounded. It's on that corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do above the eyebrow first, because that's where I want to be. Put that back in. I put that right there. Okay. I'm going to go right straight on down. So I'm perpendicular to the wood. And I'm going to just push with the back of my thumb. I'm going to go in there. I'm not going to be able to go in very deep, but I want to go in about 1/8 of an inch. Because that right there is where the eyebrow is going to be. Right here is the bottom of the nose. And I'm just making an indentation. The nose is the thing that sticks out the farthest, so I want to leave that right there. So because I placed the nose there, I know how deep everything else has to go. I've made the eye socket cut. And this is not going to be a real detailed face. It's going to be a nose, eyebrows, maybe not even eyes. We may close them. But you can see right there where we're starting to get a face. Okay, we'll draw a little bit more. We'll cut off our fuzzies first. The nose is basically a triangle if you look at it that way, so we're going to get a triangle here. And that top of the triangle goes all the way up into the eye socket, and then it goes down here to the bottom. I want to grab a small gouge, and I've got a real small one right here. This is a real small gouge. It's about a number 9, and it looks like it's about 1/8 of an inch. It looks like I said, I dropped my tools the other night, and I haven't sharpened them or honed them back since then. I thought that had a mark in it. It did not. Woo! Saved myself there. What I'm going to do, bring that down just a little bit more and get some detail. I'm going to cut those lines out with this little gouge. So all I'm going to do is start at the outside of that nose and go right up into the bridge of the nose and do that matched evenly on both sides. Be careful because you're hanging out in space and it's easy to go off and have it screw up on you. Okay. From here, I just want to deepen those cuts a little bit more because this is a wizard. He's kind of sallow-faced, skinny. And I want to take the corners off at a 90-degree or 45-degree angle. So from the center line, I want to take that corner off there. I want to take that corner off there. So all I'm doing is going to turn that into a nose. 45-degree angle, roughly. Don't measure it, just do it. 45-degree angle. Do it. Okay. We got a nose working on him. We're going to thin that nose down from the side. So it looks like he's got a long, narrow nose. I'm going to grab a slightly larger gouge so I can get an eye socket in there. You don't need it much larger. I do have one right here. Old Drake gouge, about a number 9, that's what it says. And all I'm going to do is in that eye socket, I go from the outside in and carve out that eye socket. And generally, when I do a face, I carve from I carve the carvings right side, my left side, because it's upside down. And so if it's upside down, I can't see it as well. So if I make this one here that's upside down first, then when I do the second one, I can see it right side up. And it's easier to match right side up than it is to match upside down. It's just really hard to do that. Anyway, we're getting a face in there. I'm going to bring the eye socket or eyebrow down so it's not quite so sharp. And then I'm going to deepen the eye socket just a little bit more. If you follow along with me, I'm not doing anything differently than I always do when I do a face, unless it's a real detailed face. I'm trying to make the nose and the eye socket and the eyebrow first so that they stand out. And then I'm going to tuck that bridge of the nose back up under that eyebrow. So maybe you'll see it better now. All I've done is eye sockets, nose, forehead. Now comes the other part. I want to draw. Let me draw that and then I'll show it to you in just a second. I'm drawing where the mustache is, and then I'm going to draw where the beard is. So just a few lines to see where the cheeks and the eye sockets are, and where the mustache is. Everything else outside of that is going to be hair. So up here at the top, where we've got hair on the forehead, I'm going to make some scratchy lines here, just so you know what I'm going to do in terms of putting a face out here. So I've drawn some lines in there. So he's got hair, he's got a mustache. You know what? You'd probably see that a lot better if I did it with a marker. I'll have a problem pulling it off of there a little bit later, but it's okay. I'm going to draw it in with a marker so that way you can see where I'm at. Bear with me, I'll show you in just a few seconds. Okay, so you see there, we got the cheeks right. You can reach it right there's the cheeks and the nose and the hair and the mustache. This is a real, I want to say simple in terms of the details we're putting into it. It's not simple to do that unless you've done a bunch of these, but just putting in the details and getting us where we need to go gives me an opportunity to create another face. And I'm going to start with a V tool. I'm going to grab a smaller but larger, if that makes any sense. And I'm going to carve the cheekbones first. Bottom of the cheek going right into the nose. Bottom of the cheek going right into the nose. And then I'll carve up along that hairline, edge of the hairline, and the same thing over here, edge of the hairline. Now I want to go back and I want to deepen these eye sockets. So I'm going to take that drake, and this time I'm going to go to the outside because I want those eye sockets to continue all the way to the edge of the face. So if you can see that, I did the eye sockets just a little bit deeper. Okay. I'll come in here and I'll use that V tool, and I want the outside edge of the mustache, beard sort of thing. I'm going to take that right up to the nose. Both sides. All I'm doing is bringing that long, goofy mustache up to the nose. And you can see that cut right there. And right there. Okay. Now, don't get too bogged down in the details. We're just putting a face. And at its basic, a face is a nose, eyes, and a mouth. There's not a whole lot more to them on a little carving like this. So I'm just going to come in here, make some swoopy lines. I'm not going to make it look like Grandpa's mustache. This is a wizard from some science fiction, or not science fiction, from some fictional fantasy fiction. And so we're just doing lines. We'll clean all the black stuff off of it in a little bit. I'll do that off camera, but I just want to show you that we're just making a goofy looking wizard kind of guy. There's his mustache down there and beard. Okay, and just get a little crazy out here with whatever size or whatever style of carving tool you want to use. Maybe you're doing it with a knife. Feel free to do that. I'm using a bigger gouge than I'm doing down there because I'm just trying to scratch lines in here that make it look like he's got hair flying everywhere. This guy's wild. So all I'm doing is just making some cut lines in here. You can see them in the shade a little bit. You can see them better there. I'm just going up and down and around with these cuts. It's a design feature on this book. It's not meant to be anything realistic. So it's kind of a cartoony kind of figure, cartoonish. I'm just adding some hair, going a little bit everywhere. I don't want it wrapped around the front of it very much because I don't want that to be the focus. I want the focus to be the face when you turn it over, and I want the focus to be the book when you turn it over to that side. So we'll have a little bit that creeps over there, a little bit like that creeps around the corner on it, but not much. I don't need to do a whole lot to here. I could come in here and give him some slits. So if I don't want him looking like he's angry or whatever, he's just staring at you or got his eyes closed, I know where the eyes are going to go. I'm going to draw lines in there for the eyes. And then I want to come in here and you know what? I'm going to make this easy. I'm going to have a swooping. When we do eyes, we have all kinds of things we can do with eyes. All kinds of things we can do. So here I want to know where the tear duct is. And then I want to decide what eyes I want. If I want them slit, I could just slit, leave them there. If I don't want them slit, I can make them like he's asleep. And if you want to, a little bit of eyelashes. I don't usually do many eyelashes. He looks like he's asleep. So your choice on eyes, you could do any kind of eyes you want. These are simple ones right here. You make a slit along the bottom, a slit along the middle piece, and then a slit here. And once you make that, then come back in here and lay your knife almost completely flat, take out a little slit, go real deep in there. And then when you do this, all you got to do is take a little bit of a marker or a paintbrush and paint black in there. And if you don't hold it right up to your face, you can't tell that he's not looking at you, and you can't tell there aren't eyeballs in there. But there are when you paint them in there. Anyway, with this guy, what we're going to do is we're going to do this last one right here. I was going to do this one like he's asleep. I'm going to do this one. It's hard to do that on this small carving, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to do what they say we can't do. So I've got right here, just along that line, I'm going to carve that with a V-tool. Everything else I'm going to do with a knife. You can't see it because it's really tiny details in there, but I've made a couple cuts. Shadow it a little bit. I made a couple cuts. You can see those in there. Okay, I'm going to come in here with my knife, and I want a real small knife. I got a really tiny 1-inch knife, Drake knife, and I'm going to use it like a pencil because I got better control. I'm going to cut the one slit. I'm just going to scratch that in there. Scratch the other slit on the other side. Position them to where they're in the same area. See those cuts? Probably not because of the light. Okay, then I'm going to cut this part first. This one right here. I've got this one, then I'm going to cut this one, then I'm going to cut this one, and then I'm going to come back and lay it down. So one cut, another stab, bring those two corners down. Then I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to lay that knife down. I can't hang on to it today. Lay that knife down really, really flat. Take out that chip. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really, really just chipped out on the left side of the screen. I'm going to do the same thing over here. If you can't see it for the short time that I show it to you, pause, take a look at it and see what that looks like. And I'm going to come back in here and do the same thing to this one. It's going to be deep in there when I'm done because I want that black stuff, whatever I use, paint, ink, whatever, I want it to really go back in there and get hidden down in that crevice. No, just a little chip right there. So that's what we're looking at right there. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. We got little eyes back in there. They don't look good in this picture. But if I take a really tiny marker, okay. And you know what? Other than cleaning up, I'm not even going to bother with nostrils on this guy because it's just another detail I don't need. I don't need that other detail. Now, and what I would do, I'd come in here to make with the smaller V tool, I'd come in here to make some shorter, deeper cuts. Some in between some of the cuts I already made, so it just adds a few more details. And if at the same time you can clean off some of these black marks that you drew in there, that's just an added bonus. So all I'm doing is just taking off some of those marks, adding a few more. I'll do that again when I go to clean it up, but I would take this from now, I would take this to the whizzer wheel and clean it up. So I'm going to end this video now, video number 4. And then what we're going to do now, I'll go clean it up and I'll show you that. And then we'll be at the point where, let me look at my cheat notes here. We'll look at the point where we're going to do paint and finish. Some of the funnest part of what we're doing. So, okay, I'll see you in the next video.